I'm Paula Clark, and I'm a long-term resident of San Miguel de Allende. And there are always stories about how the first time people came in. We came in over the road that goes to the Atascadero and missed the real road to go downtown. And so we really thought we were breaking new ground because it was a dirt road to get down there.
What year was it?
It was 1973. And we had come just to spend the night in San Miguel and visit our friend Bill Shelburne, who had a house on Terraplane, and we had known him in Mexico City at a bar, a piano bar in Mexico City. And so he said, stop and see us, and we did. And John and I went down to the Jardín and at night because they were playing bridge and they hadn't planned to have us in their house that long. So we went down, and the girls were walking one way and the boys were walking the other way, and it was so beautiful in moonlight, and there were no cars at all parked there, and we just fell in love with it, with San Miguel. Our daughter was in university at Universidad de las Americas in Cholula. And so that was fine for Catherine, but Christopher was 8 years old, and we needed a school for him that was partly in English. And so then we happened to meet the director of the school, a bilingual school, Irving, Augusta Irving. And she said yes, he could keep up his schooling there. So that was one of the reasons we decided. We were on our way to Morelia, where we'd spent a lot of vacations to live, and we realized, I don't know, we realized that maybe a few other Americans in town wouldn't be a bad thing. We put off the date that we were going to go back to Dallas, and we just never went back. It was a nice community, and there weren't very many foreigners here. There were some, but not very many. It was rather formal in those days. In the 70s, women wore long dresses to parties. I mean, not fancy dresses, but long dresses. And so we would take our high heel shoes, or matching shoes, and wear tennis shoes to the door, and then change and go to the party. And there were a lot of authors here. There were a lot of writers, and they among themselves had made a pact not to write about San Miguel. Because it was so precious and we didn't want to share it with everyone. So there were David Dodge and William Wyler, a movie producer and director. They had a house right down on, right past the Jardín, and several people, Gerald Green, who wrote television work, first television show, I think about the Holocaust, but then other, there were quite a few people who came here to be quiet and write their books. We were quite young to retire. We were not yet 40, and so most of the people were older, and somehow we got invited to a lot of parties, and we spoke Spanish. My husband and my son spoke good Spanish, and I spoke adequate Spanish, college Spanish, having learned it at university. Letitia Eklund and her husband Francis, he introduced himself to me at a party, and he said, "Hello, I'm Frank Eklund. I'm a brain surgeon," which was, and he was. It wasn't for an audience then, it was just a group of us who would select a play, and the person whose house it would be in would get to choose the play, and the play wasn't cast until the people got there. We moved to the room adjacent to the Episcopal Church and had our plays there. And several over the years, pastors of the church have also been very good actors in our plays. It sometimes lends itself to, I guess they're good public speakers, and so they could do that. Oh dear, I can't think of the play now, but Joelle was the damsel in distress, and John was Dracula, and my husband, John Clark, was the guy who saves her. It's kind of a staid part, but saves her from getting bitten in the neck. So that was, and it was in Bellas Artes, and it was so well attended. I went out to Captain de la Canales riding school near the lake, and with cowboy boots on. And he said, "No, that's not the kind of riding we have here." I grew up on a ranch in Texas. And so I got interested in English riding and pursued it for a long time. It was lots of fun, and it was something I knew how to ride a horse. And my husband would go to play golf in the morning, or tennis. He's quite good at both of them, at the country club. And then I would go ride horseback, and then we would come home to our house, and the maid would have dinner, comida, ready for us, and then we would have a little siesta in the afternoon and go to a party at night, and that's the way it went. The lights went out a lot. And they went out at night, and at first I thought there was something wrong with the house that we had rented for the summer. And I called Peter Bubala to come up and fix it. And Peter brought one of his young sons with him because I think he thought it was strange that I would call him about the lights going out, because they went out every night about 6 o'clock. And he assured me they would come back on. And we got used to getting dressed to go wherever we were going, somebody's house usually. There were only 2 restaurants in town, El Patio and the other one. And so people didn't go out to eat very much. Maybe Sierra Nevada. I guess Sierra Nevada was there in those early days. But it was quite expensive, and there was a rigid dress code to go for the men to go there. Oh, the garbage truck. Well, it wasn't just one garbage truck. It was a whole series of 3 garbage trucks, I guess 3. Phil Marr called us and said, "Come down to the corner of the street of," I guess it was Raylo and the main street, and welcome the garbage trucks. And so we came down and he gave us confetti and we threw it on the garbage trucks. And there weren't very many of us, but it was just a nice thing to.
And where did the garbage trucks come from?
He had arranged to buy these trucks from Harlingen, Texas. They were replacing their trucks. And this must have been way about 78 or something like that by that time. But he called us to come down and throw confetti on the trucks because it was such a great thing to have the garbage picked up. Before that, you had to arrange to get rid of your own garbage and have maybe your gardener would take it away somewhere or would take it away someplace not very far away, like across the street if there was a vacant lot in my case. At the riding school, we would go every Saturday. We would not work in the riding ring. We would go out in the country, and then when we came back, Harold Black made us all go through the Hardin and ride around the Hardin to advertise the school. He had little gray jackets made for those of us who lived here, who were just coming for a week or two to ride. And they had Escuela Equestria on the jackets. And then if anybody stopped us, we would say, "Oh yes, come riding at the school." I love the literary part of being here. The people were quite well read, quite to have found this place in the first place, I guess. Of course, there was not television. There wasn't even radio except for shortwave radio. And so we would play games at each other's houses. And it was a kind of gentle time, I guess, in San Miguel.